something. Singing rap now.
Teach your rap. Teach why you rap.
All right.
You need to do that.
So, an arithmetic sequence, we said yesterday, is linear, which means if I graph it, it creates a straight line. So, this says, a city is considering a new law to restrict the monthly amount of garbage allowed into the local landfill to a maximum of 12 tons a month. So, all we're allowed to add to the landfill every month is 12 tons. Even though there is currently only 800 tons of garbage in the landfill, there is a concern that it will reach its maximum capacity of 2,000 tons. This is a real-world problem. Okay. They use this to do these types of things. So, first off, where does my sequence start in this problem?
At 800 tons.
At 800 tons. Okay, so we start at 800 tons. After a month, how many tons do I now have? 812. So after a month, we're now up to 812. The next month, 824. $836. Okay, so if I were to draw that, that's what this would look like. Because it's increasing by 12, that means my transition rule is a sub n minus 1 plus 12. And what's my transition here? How often is this happening?
A month.
Every month. Okay, so we've created a linear graph. So, tell me this. Linear graph. Bless you. Y equals mx plus b. So, a linear graph, when you learned it, is y equals mx plus b. What did m represent?
The
Slope. And what was b?
the x, y intercept.
The y-intercept. Guess what? It's come back to haunt you. Uh-oh. So, now we're going to change this equation to y equals, instead of using m, we're now going to use d, x, plus p sub 0. Okay, so b represented your y-intercept, where it crossed the y-axis. Well, where does my graph cross the y-axis?
0, 0.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
0,
800.
800. So, p sub 0 is 800. This is your initial value. P sub 0 is 800. What's my slope?
Up 12 over 1.
Up 12. So, instead of d, or instead of slope, this is 12x. You've just created an explicit formula. So now I can plug in values and find any value that I want. Okay. So this is now the explicit formula. for this sequence. So I can tell you, I can ask you, what's the 57th term in my sequence? And you can plug it in here and you can solve for it. You don't have to sit there and go plus 12, plus 12, plus 12, plus 12. Okay, that takes way too long. Okay, so we're going to come up with explicit formulas for all of these now so you can solve for anything you want. Okay, so 1C says, I'm now 5 years in the future. I want to know how much garbage I will have if I'm 5 years in the future. Okay, so the first thing I need to ask myself is 5 years. I need to change that to months.
60.
You said what?
60.
60 months. 5 years is 60 months. Because remember, my landfill's getting filled by the month, not by the year. So the biggest mistake I see is people plug in 5 for X. You've got to do it by the transitions. So if it's happening monthly, it's happening 12 times a year. So over 5 years, it happens 60 times. So to solve for this, we plug in 60. How much garbage is in my landfill if 5 years have gone past? $1,500.
15. Really? I haven't done that.
After 5 years, we've got 1,520 tons. Have we reached maximum capacity yet?
Yeah.
No. We're good. Okay.
Why global warming's a threat.
Oh, global warming. D says, how long is it going to take before we reach our capacity? So now they're giving us that we know 2,000 tons. When I plug this one in, where do I plug this one in at? They give me the tons.
The 800. The 12.
Plug it into Y equals on the
X.
Which variable does 2,000 replace when I'm solving for this one?
The 12. The 800. The plus.
I said variable, Kimberly.
Oh, the D. The Y.
Sweet baby. This is my equation, Kimberly. Where do you see a D?
Oh, I was looking at the top one. Maybe it's the PO. Okay, I'm kidding. It's the Y.
Now make her pick it up.
She's in a illusion.
We're watching Johnson's bed yesterday.
X represented your months. That's why we plugged 60 in here.
Why?
So if they give me tons, somebody other than Ashley has been giving me the right answer.
All of them.
No, you didn't.
I did say all of them.
Thank you.
What?
And then I'm
Jeez
like, I was just kidding.
Louise.
The Y.
I'm
You threw it at me. For
I'm gonna
no
yeah.
reason.
Mhm.
This is
So-
child abuse.
You're 18.
I'm 17.
I know.
Definitely. child
Okay,
abuse.
so back to some old school math. How do I solve for X now? Minus 800.
Then divide by 12.
And divide by 12. What does X equal? 100. 100 what?
Years. Sorry. Months.
Months.
Sorry. Sorry.
So if they wanted you to change that to years, what would you do?
Do it.
Huh?
Divide by 12.
Divide it by 12.
In
There's
5
12
years-
months in a year, so you would divide that by 12 if they want it in
In
years.
5 years equals
Okay.
60 months. In 10 years.
It's 8.3.
8.3.
Somebody
8.3 years.
I don't think you have space.
You don't
She'll
have
never
the
get the space.
Listen, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Because we only have one more day left.
Oh, not to go. What are you doing tomorrow?
Should have been a half day tomorrow.
Y'all are taking the test tomorrow. I don't know about y'all.
Oh.
Let's see.
Oh.
Woo!
Test tomorrow.
Woo! There it is. There it is.
Right. No, it's the other. I think it's this. No,
gotta
yeah, I
be
thought it was
covered.
a
What
test we got test.
The test on this, chapter 9, 10.1, 10.2. Starts for you. What? What? Coffee? Yeah, you want some? It's got Irish creamer in it.
If I could just make a 60 on this test, I'll be just fine.
Sorry, this is.
Okay, so the biggest thing to be able to create your formula, you need to know your starting value. You need to know P sub 0. What do I start with? Okay.
You got a 9 beside the 0 on you.
It's so common.
Why is there a comma beside the 0?
Because it has to.
I thought it was a
It has
nine.
to separate the other P's from.
Listen, just because y'all can't read, do not.
I was gonna have a headache.
Until.
Honey, I give you a headache every day you walk in the store.
Math gives me
Math gives you a headache. So, to be able to create these explicit formulas, you need to, 1, have your initial value, and you need to, 2, find your slope or your common difference. Okay, so your common difference is your slope. So if I'm looking for common difference in A, what's my common difference? What? You have got to stop with the phone thing because they want me to write you up now and just send you out constantly.
Right. You
This
said
is
that
not your own personal time. You are supposed to be sitting there. Okay. What is my common difference?
Oh, for what? Sorry, I was in. How'd you go?
I need a new job. I need a new job. I need a new job. What is my common difference? What is my pattern? Thank you.
How did I get it right?
Can we please put Kimberly back in bed?
I didn't even
She
say
needs a
that.
nappy. Because she is like, woo!
I'm excited for today.
What, the game tonight?
Yep.
We gonna kick some booty.
Who y'all play?
East.
Not gonna have booty. So y'all gonna be kicking swords.
What is, yeah, technically we're kicking balls.
Why y'all kicking balls? That's y'all play girl soccer.
What you think they said? A football?
Oh my God.
Y'all went to kick the butt.
Leave it for Nkosi to like. What is my common difference in B?
-7.
-7. And what is my common difference in C?
I ain't got that far yet.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
-26.
-26. Okay, so you have 2 different ways that you can write an explicit formula. The first one is using y equals mx plus b. So this is now y equals dx plus p sub 0. Okay, this is going to be the one you're going to use most often. Okay, I'm going to also show you when they give you other things how to cheat with the calculator.
Please.
Because to go through all that math again that y'all forgot from like algebra 1.
That was simple. I didn't forget that from one. I had the best teacher in this whole school.
Who?
You guys know what? I had Miss Miller. She was well for math. One.
I don't teach math one, so.
Math wasn't for
It
you.
doesn't. All right. There is another equation, and this is the one they are going to provide for you because they actually do provide 4 equations for you on your test. This is the one that they provide, and I hate it because this is the one you're never going to use. But they're going to give you this. A sub n equals A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d.
That's 6. Where's that a 0?
It is a 0. If you were writing while I was speaking. Ah.
That's a 0. Oh.
It's going to be a long day, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let's practice. Okay. Before you can come up with any of our formulas, the first thing we need to do is you're going to have earbuds in and you're still singing. He's just got music in his head. We need to find the common difference before we can do anything else.
Oh, I thought it was fine water.
That is your common difference.
Oh, I was paying attention to what you said.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, plus 7 minus 1.
It's plus 6.
Thank you. It is arithmetic, which
It
means
is
all.
not.
It is.
How you can tell me? No, I'm kidding. I just looked at it.
It is arithmetic. Okay. So it is plus 6.
Hey, technically, I'm right too. Plus 7 minus 1.
Which is Plus
Technically,
6.
I'm right though.
oh God help me.
You can't say it's not true.
Okay. So recursively, that tells me I need to take the number that comes before and add 6 every time. But this isn't practical if I want to know what the 106th term is. Because you've got to do that 106 stinking times. No. So we come up with the explicit formula, which is y equals d times x. What's my d value? 6. 6x. It's going up by 6 every time. And where does my equation or where does my sequence start? 7. So I start at 7 and I go up by 6. Okay, take a look at B. Plus 2. So that means I take every number and I add 2 to get my next number. So that is my recursive. My explicit then is y equals 2x minus 3. You start at -3, and each time we're going up by 2. Okay? C.
Minus 5.
Minus 5. So every time we take the previous number and we subtract off 5. So explicitly, this becomes y equals -5x. And I started at positive 2. Okay. You're starting to see the pattern here. You've got to tell it where to start, and you've got to tell it what to increase or decrease by every time.
Will these be on the test tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Questions like that?
Yes.
All right.
I'm stressing Isabella out over there.
My brain popped a couple weeks ago.
What's my D value?
Minus 3.
-3. So every time I'm taking the number and I'm subtracting 3. Explicitly, y equals negative 3x minus 3. You start at negative 3, and every time we're going down by 3. Finally, my last one. 19. So explicitly, every time I'm adding 19 to my numbers, which is y equals 19x. And this time I started at 42, so plus 42. Questions? No.
Are we done?
No.
We're at the 6th page.
You're like a little child. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Are we?
No. Okay.
I think they're close.
Instead of giving you a sequence in part A, they tell you that P sub 0 is 8. So what's that mean? If P sub 0 is 8. It starts at 8. My sequence starts at 8. It tells you my D value is 3. So what does that mean? Huh? It's adding 3. We're adding 3 each time if my D value is 3. So that means my sequence goes 8, 11, 14, so on and so forth. So this means that my equation is y equals 3x plus 8. Okay? They want us to find P sub 16. They want us to find the 16th number in that sequence. So what you do is we plug in 16 for x and solve.
56.
So the 16th number in my sequence is 56.
How many questions are this one?
Can't be doing that to us now.
17?
You said 17?
17.
No,
Whoop,
you're not
yeah.
trying to do A, B, and C though.
Okay, so this time they actually just give you the sequence. So I need to first find my D value, and you said that's what, Ash? 0.6. My D value here is 0.6. It's going up by 0.6 every time. So y equals 0.6x plus 5.3. It starts at 5.3. And it's increasing by 0.6. They want us to find P sub 39. So 0.6 times 39 plus 5.3.
46.
You said what?
46.
46.7.
28.
I got 28.7. Did you put in
Nah, I put that
0.6?
wrong.
Did you put in 0.6 instead of just 6?
We'll try that for myself.
I mean, okay. My suggestion to you is to change those both to decimals before you even mess with them. What's 1.5 as a decimal? 1.5. And 3 3/4 is 3.75. It's easier to see the pattern if it's as a decimal instead of as the fractions. Oh. The D value, yes. Your D value is 2.25. Okay. There's one thing that they didn't give you here, though.
The next one.
51.
They didn't give you P sub 0.
All right, so then you gotta, no, wait. Negative you gotta
Just
subtract back. That's
So if you're adding to go forwards, we subtract to go backwards. You've got to find that P sub 0 before you do anything. You said negative what?
0.75.
Negative 0.75.
That's P sub 1. P sub 0.
Yes. Be careful. You
P sub
need
zero
P
is
sub
negative
0. Negative 3. Okay.
Wow.
You needed to go 2 spaces backwards. Yes, it's still up here.
oh yeah.
Okay. So again, to get that, if I know so I need P sub 0. This is P sub 1. I know that P sub 2 is 1.5. I know that P sub 3 is 3.75. So to go this way, we add 2.25. To go backwards, we subtract 2.25. So I need to subtract to get this number and then subtract again to give me P sub 0. And you cannot just subtract once.
It's 70.
So y equals 2.25 x minus 3, and you said
Y equals 2.25. 36.
2.25 times. Whoop, there it is. And you know I got to throw in some word problems, so here we go.
I don't like them.
You don't like them because you don't like to read and comprehend. You just want me to give you like 2 plus 2 so you can say 4.
Yes.
Pretty much.
No, we can say fish.
Basically,
That's how I work in the
I tried to
I didn't
convince the
get that
little
word
kids
for
at the
it.
soccer game that 2 plus 2 was 6.
What?
I was trying. It didn't work.
If you get
I even did. I was
No, you
like,
should have been like,
I was like 2 plus 2. 6. They're like, no.
They should have been like,
You should have gave them
what's 2
candy.
plus 1, then 2 plus 2, then 2 plus 3, and then like switch it up, and they'll be like,
2
oh,
plus 7.
All right.
all right, 2 plus 7.
So you should be able to do problems like this.
Hell no.
Cosmic Java opened in 2005 with 370 coffee shops and plans to open 60 new coffee shops each year after that. Okay, so what does 370 represent? P0. P0 is 370. Well, what's 60? A what?
What's your antibody?
D. It's going up by 60. We're opening new shops, so it's increasing by 60 every year. Okay, so that means my equation is y equals 60x plus 370. Okay, so now I can do part A. How many Cosmic Java coffee shops will there be in 2020? What do I plug in? What do I plug in for X?
2020.
I applaud you, Miss.
No.
Oh shit.
Dude,
They're making it.
What goes in for X to find out how many coffee shops I have?
15.
How'd you get that?
That's how many years from 2005.
Good. So we opened up 370 coffee shops in 2005. That means by 2020, we have passed 15 years. So I'm actually plugging in 15. How many coffee shops?
1270.
1270. I like to be loud and
I'm
proud.
not gonna drink that much now.
I mean, I drink coffee every damn day.
Everybody make their own coffee at home.
Right. Nobody goes to the coffee shop.
I ain't never
I got a black sheep.
Listen, Miss Smith will be because she got a $40 gift certificate for Christmas to the Black Sheep.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
I ain't never
I used to
drunk
drink-
coffee like
I used to drink coffee with my grandma in the morning.
Okay, in what year will Cosmic Java reach the milestone of having 2,000 coffee shops?
Shit, next year.
Next year? Well, obviously we haven't reached 2,000 by 2020. So 2,000 is now Y. So 2,000 equals 60x plus 370.
You got enough room for the ships.
Exactly.
Sorry, you ran out of room for your ships.
Yes, I did. Glad you could do that.
We can accept.
You don't have that magical thing on your paper?
No.
So we subtract 370 from both sides.
Negative 170.
Negative what?
Wait, what?
What? How do
Never
you-
mind. I was doing 200. My bad.
What?
1630,
Wait,
right?
shut your ass up, because I
Okay.
got something to pass the test.
Divide by 60.
Oh, okay.
27.16, you said?
Yeah. Should be a miracle.
Okay. We didn't answer the question yet, though.
Well,
We are-
more room.
27.16 years in the future.
13 something years and or something.
What year is that?
Oh, I don't know. Wait.
Remember, we start in what?
2032.
2032. We started in 2005. This gives me 2032.16. So somewhere between 2032 and 2033, we've reached our 2,000 shop limit.
Hey.
That's you're my son.
Oh, yeah?
Pause.
We'll be alive for 20.
Wait, you just said,
He said,
hold up.
son gonna graduate.
You know,
Damn, how is it gonna be when you have a son?
You know,
I'm just playing.
my daughter's not even going to graduate by that day. So,
That's
how long ago did you have a kid?
that's why you said 3 years ago.
That's like if I said Paul, I was like, wait, it don't sound right.
He lives in
Yes.
Burrow.
Goodness gracious. Here's my next one.
Very thick like your mama.
He said thick like your mama.
Okay, we need to come up with an equation first. What is my equation? Y equals
12x
12x
plus 25.
plus 25. Okay, my word problem says that I'm increasing by 12 pounds of radioactive waste every month.
By 25.
No, we're increasing by 12. And we started with 25 pounds of radioactive waste in the tank.
Right.
Right. If the tank can only hold 217 pounds safely, how soon should the power plant purchase a new tank? Where am I plugging in 217 to solve questions? No.
Why?
Yes. 217 equals 12x plus 25.
Minus 25.
Subtract 25 from both sides.
It's 192.
192 equals 12x. Divide by 12.
16.
X equals 16. 16 what? What does that
16
mean?
pounds. No,
16.
16 years.
Is that
Months.
Is that
Months. We're talking months.
Is that 192 divided by 12?
Yes. I don't know why it's like going all funky again. There we go. You know, story of my life. Okay, so 16 months into the future, we need a new tank. Because nuclear waste is going to go spewing out.
At least it lasts.
That's right.
Yeah, I will warranty.
Okay. Suppose that the plant intends to sell all of its nuclear waste in 2005. How many tanks will the power plant send to Nevada? Okay. So 2005. How many years have passed if we're in 2005? 5. But X is in what? It's not in years. Months. So 5 years is how many months? 60. So I technically need to plug in 60. Okay, you've got to pay attention to what it's in. So I need to plug in 60 instead of 5. That will be your biggest downfall, is not paying attention to the units. Okay, and it will get you every time. 745 pounds of waste. Am I done?
No.
No.
It says how many tanks?
It says how many tanks. It don't care how many pounds you have.
You have to do 745 divided by 217.
Good. It tells you every tank. It tells you every tank can hold 217 pounds. So if we divide this by 217,
3.43.
3.43. Well, I can't send 0.43 of a tank, so I'm actually sending 4 tanks. 3 that are full and 1 that is partially full. Questions?
Yes.
When do we start?
How did you get the 60 again?
5 years have passed because it started January 1st of 2000.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now in 2005. But when I created my equation, it's happening every month.
2000.
So it happens 12 times in a year.
Oh.
12 times each year, 5 years in the future gives me 60.
Okay. 2000 was a year. I got to eat.
You got what?
I got to eat in 2000 without paying anything. I was chilling, I was asleep for a
No,
long time.
2000 I had to come to the real world to eat.
Okay.
1999, I don't see it for free.
In 2000, I was a little egg.
In 1999.
There is one other thing that I want to show you. Okay. I am supposed to show you how to do this the long, drawn-out way on how to find the slope and then plug into the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 and do this and do that. And what?
What the hell? You lost me at it.
Right.
You lost me.
Okay.
I had to give you a long way.
So, anytime that they give you 2 points, your calculator will find you the explicit formula. So, let me make sure I'm on the right example here. Where are we at? Why don't I? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so what I need you to do is get your calculator. Please make sure you are doing this with me. Okay. All right. Where is my calculator?
I wish I picked it up.
Second plus 712. Clear out your calculators, please. It's not my problem when she doesn't know how to do this tomorrow and I'm not helping her. Okay. So, you need to input.
Shut up.
That's what you need to do first. What? Not in the middle of this, no. Okay. So, you need to input your 2 points. So, in order to do that, you need to go to Stat. And you are going to edit. Okay. So, these are where you input your points. L1 is going to be your X values, so where you find the numbers. And L2 is going to be your Y values. what numbers are there. So your problem says we're at P sub 9, which means 9 is my X value. And at P sub 9, we're at 1324. There's your first point. Okay. P sub 9 is 1324. So that means my X is 9 and my Y is 1324. Your second point is P sub 25. So 25. And this is 2684. Okay. It says that this is a linear growth model. So we can now go back to stat, go over to calculation. Because I know this is linear, I want choice number 4. And hit enter. So when I plug this in, my sequence starts at 559. That's my P sub 0. My sequence is increasing. My D value is 85. So my equation for that one is Y equals 85X plus 559. That's your equation. You can do this with quadratics. You can do this with cubics. Another what? Are we going to do another one? Okay. All right. What's my next one then?
So that's the seed and common difference?
Yep. That's your seed and your common difference. Your seed would be 559 where you start, and your common difference is plus 85. Okay. All right. So we've got 3 more. 3 more. Whoops. Calculator. Yeah, I'm going to do one more with you. Okay. Clear out your calculator. Gentlemen, shut up.
We love you, though. You don't love us back. You don't love me back. I love you.
I'm going to knock you both. All right. So part A says P sub 12. So that means my X value is 12. And my Y value is 322. P sub 27 means my X value is 27. And my Y value is 397. Again, it tells you it's linear growth. So you go back to stat once you enter these in. Go over to calculate a linear regression. So my starting point is 262. And it's growing by 5 every time. So 5x plus 262. 5x plus 262. They want us to find the 8th generation. So we would plug in 8. And we get what when we plug in 8? What? 3 or what? 2.
If you don't do your work, I'm just on later.
302. Okay. Try the last 2 right now. Okay. Try the last 2 right now. Mm-hmm. Although it said find the explicit formula. You boys are gonna be hurting when I say, Joshua, give me the explicit formula for this because you decided not to follow along while I was teaching.
See, I follow along.
Mm-hmm. You got the answer for B and C yet?
No, we do y'all.
She said do the last two alone. See, I follow him too.
Right, he at least heard me. Not that he's doing it, but he heard me. No, it's a bad one.
I don't know how to do that. No, I know how to do that.
The A is your is the GX, and then your B is the P.
I know that too. I just don't know how you got it. Like, I know how to
The
do
P sub 5, that's gonna be put in first. That's gonna be your L1, and then 9107 is gonna be your L2.
That's all we need. Oh, that's not here. Miss Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
these are my numbers for my project that I'm starting. Before this period. You check out my
In the middle of my class while I'm teaching. No.
Oh, I already got it though.
But
You said Friday. It's due Thursday. It's due tomorrow. I'm gonna get it done before that. I'll take it back. I'm gonna start it tomorrow. Give it to you before this period.
what's the equation for part B?
Y equals -6x plus 536.
And your answer should have been 408.
Oh, put in the wrong thing. That's why.
Okay. What's my equation in part C?
Y equals 217x plus 826.
And you should have gotten 9,758. Questions? Problems? Okay, so